All right. Hello. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. We are super excited for the session that we have, but first, we're going to go over some quick housekeeping. So first, thank you to our sponsors for this. I mean, we've got a great panelist of hosts with you today. So thank you, Verizon Business. Thank you, Dell Technologies. We've got some awesome content to deliver to everybody today. Feel free to ask your questions. You can put your questions in the chat, in the Q&A. We are going to do our best to get everyone's questions answered. And please note that this webinar is being recorded. We will post it on the Elevate website once we are finished with today's session. Please give us a couple of days for editing, but we will get it up on the website so you can come back to it at a later date. And then please, if you update your profile, we've got a great new dashboard. If you have not checked it out yet, we launched our new site in May, and you have the ability to customize the content that you want. So on your profile, you can choose exactly which topics of interest that you want. You just go to update profile first, and then you can click all that information. Not all of it might be relevant to you, so make sure you click on the information that is relevant to you. You will get that information, the event notifications, the emails, so you don't get everything, just what you're looking for. But without further ado, I'm done talking. As you can see on the slide, there's a quick survey reminder. I'll remind everybody about that at the end, but you're here for the content and not to hear me talk. So today's session will focus on how 5G technology integrated within the latest Dell AI PCs can elevate on-device AI capabilities by providing users with a seamless and secure connection to the Verizon 5G network from virtually anywhere. I'm excited to introduce you to the insights and stories from our panelists today that will complete and shape our understanding of AI PCs powered by 5G. Today, you will hear from Tomas, Associate Director for Connected Laptops at Verizon Business, Ryan, Product Manager from Dell Technologies. We have Michelle, VP Principal Analyst, and Rick, Analyst from Forrester, who will discuss the trends and data uncovered in the recent TEI study. We're also delighted to have Keith. All of you know Keith very well. He is on our board, VP of IT from Nature Fresh Farms, who will highlight a real-world example of how 5G has improved his business operations and managed resources more efficiently. So with that, Tomas, I believe you are up next to talk a little bit about Verizon and the 5G connected laptop. So the floor is yours.
Great, thanks, Jack. And hi, everyone. My name is Tuomas Hämäläinen, and I'm leading the product team for connected laptops at Verizon Business Group. I just want to kick off by outlining the opportunities and the growth drivers that we at Verizon see for connected PCs. So first of all, we are excited about the growth that we see for the category in the market. So looking at industry data, connected 4G and 5G laptops is one of the fastest growing PC categories at the moment, with a very strong year-on-year growth in the first half of 2025. And at Verizon, we see growth across for the category across personas, segments, and industry verticals. For example, industries with large field teams such as energy, insurance, or distribution, where people are on the go throughout their workday or need access to work tools from remote locations, or industries with high security needs such as finance or healthcare, where organizations deal with sensitive customer data and need secure access to that data when traveling or otherwise on the go. One of the growth drivers for the PC market this year is obviously Windows 10 end of service. That has been accelerating device refreshes across enterprise, SMB, and mid-market customers. And as part of these refresh projects, organizations are also assessing their connectivity needs today and in the next 1 to 3 years, which has boosted the demand for 5G laptops. Another growth driver for connected laptops is hybrid work. We know that 96% of US companies that have made investments in connectivity tools have seen improvements in employee productivity. And as more and more employees work in a hybrid role that requires access to work tools from the office, from home, and when on the go, connected laptops can be a great solution to address those growing connectivity needs. Security is also driving the adoption of 5G laptops. And according to Verizon's Mobile Security Index study, more than 25% of enterprises report that Wi-Fi-based mobile attacks take place frequently or daily, and that these attacks are mainly driven by employees connecting to a spoofed Wi-Fi network. And with connected lab PCs, organizations can better protect their users, devices, and data by enabling their teams to stay connected to a secure Verizon 5G network from virtually anywhere. And last but not least, we are also starting to see AI really drive the adoption of 5G laptops. According to Forrester's recent digital workplace and employee technology survey, nearly half of all respondents indicated that their organizations would be accelerating their device refresh rates in order to take advantage of the new hardware technologies such as AI PCs and 5G laptops. And this is what I hear from our sellers and our industry partners too. When organizations are going through their current laptop refreshes, they consider more and more how to enable their users with access to their cloud-based AI tools from virtually any location and in a secure way. And Verizon's 5G ultra-wideband network already reaches over 280 million people in the US. And thanks to this rapid network expansion, businesses have access to faster speeds, lower latency, and improved reliability, allowing for deployment of advanced AI applications that they can access from virtually anywhere with 5G connected laptops. But with that, I'll hand it over to you, Jack. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that information. Super informative. Our next panelist is Ryan. So Ryan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Tomas. And appreciate the collaboration we have with Verizon. As we look at all the exciting enhancements in AI and machine learning, there are so many possibilities. But one thing that's clear is that to take advantage of those capabilities, it's going to require enhancements on our devices in terms of the compute power, in terms of the connectivity. Over the last year or so, we've seen the introduction of specialized AI PCs to the market, and there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of early adoption. They are redefining how companies leverage AI. And when they're paired with a 5G connection, they really enable the best AI-powered productivity tool. So for those who may not be familiar, let's just define an AI PC. We know traditionally a PC has a CPU for your general compute workloads. It may have a GPU for better graphics performance. Now with AI PCs, there's been the introduction of a new chip, an NPU or neural processing unit. And that is specifically designed to handle those AI workloads on the device to make it run more efficient with on-device AI capabilities. And think about all the applications that your organization uses and how AI could enhance those applications, right? Whether it's with your productivity tools, your collaboration tools, etc. Adding and integrating AI into those apps really can bog down the device. It'd be too difficult as is to handle those workloads. So having an NPU or a GPU really enables that capability on the device. And there are a lot of advantages to having an AI PC which can run the AI locally on the device. Number one, they're really efficient. Think about running those AI models, having to send that data to the cloud and back. There's very low latency when you're able to do that on the device. And they're also extremely energy efficient. We're seeing battery life of up to 27 hours. So if you're not able to be plugged in all the time, need to be on the go, you have great battery life. In addition, security. We all would recognize and know that security is important. You may have a lot of private data that you don't want to expose to the cloud. When you run everything locally on the device, you have less risk of your data being compromised. And number three is cost savings compared to cloud. Again, when you're running locally on the device, you don't have to worry about unpredictable inferencing. You're running these models in the cloud. You don't know how much cloud capacity that's going to take. So you really have more predictable usage and more predictable cost running that locally on the device. Jack, can we go to the next slide, please? So as we think about AI PCs, most of us are going to need a combination of both local and cloud-based AI for the things that we do. So having both an NPU and 5G connectivity will provide the best experience. We talked a little bit about on-device AI, and that's really going to handle a lot of different operations. I recently saw, for example, a demonstration of a laptop that was doing real-time language translation. So anything where you need quick responses, privacy, et cetera, on-device AI is going to be great for that. There are going to be times where you still need that cloud-based AI. You may be running certain applications that are based in the cloud, or you may be running data-heavy operations. You need to process a lot of data with analysis, and you need additional computational resources, and that may be better suited for a cloud-based AI application. So you need kind of both of these scenarios. And besides just AI, we all need secure, reliable connectivity. I'm sure, like many of you, I work with colleagues both in different parts of the country and internationally, and having 5G connectivity makes it very easy to collaborate with them no matter where I am working from. And so you think about your workforce, how mobile are they, and also the security concerns. Tomas mentioned a little bit about this, but we know there are security concerns with public Wi-Fi, maybe even personal Wi-Fi. So considering 5G as an option for your hybrid and field workforce is really something important. At Dell, we try to make it really easy for customers to invest in the latest 5G AI PCs. We know technology is evolving rapidly. How can customers take advantage and get access to this technology? And the first way we make it easy is our devices are always the most secure and manageable devices in the market. We have a reputation for that. We make it easy to have confidence in the security of the device and how easy it's going to be for your company to manage. We also have our partnership with Verizon. And in conjunction with Verizon, we've done a couple things. One, we offer discounted data plans when you're looking at getting 5G on the device. And we've also made that activation process more seamless and easy when you want to activate 5G service on the device. So your workforce, whether they need access to their email, their files, applications, basically wherever they are in the US, they can do that without having to worry about bandwidth or if they're going to have reliable, secure connection on the device. And finally, if you're concerned about the cost or just how quickly these technologies are evolving, Dell offers the option for PC-as-a-Service, where you can purchase the device with a monthly payment plan and get access to that technology, which is going to give you improved affordability and return on your investment. Back to you, Jack.
So I was looking for my unmute button. That was wonderful. Thank you, Ryan. Really appreciate the information. That was, I mean, I really enjoy it. It's definitely something that I could be using right now. But with that, Michelle, can you please give us some more information about what you're seeing kind of from the Forrester perspective?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jack. So for context, I'm Michelle Polino, and I'm a Vice President Principal Analyst here at Forrester. I've been in the analyst community for over 19 years, and I lead the research related to connected devices and networks at Forrester. So that includes different devices related to the AI PCs that we're talking about today, as well as IoT devices and other types of edge devices that are making their way into enterprises. So I wanted to give some context into some of the trends that we're seeing with respect to what IT organizations are needing to deal with as they consider adoption of 5G-enabled AI PCs. First and foremost, IT teams are tasked with supporting the PC, the device, and the employees, no matter where they may be using these devices or where they may be working using them. And from our surveys, which Forrester conducts each year with IT stakeholders, we find that 3 of the top priorities that IT organizations have are focused on addressing the needs for employees to have the devices and the technologies that they need to be productive no matter where they are working. This includes activities such as purchasing the devices, imaging them, deploying them to wherever the employees need them. Ultimately, it also includes maintaining and supporting them if there are issues along the way, and decommissioning the devices that may be distributed, and these PCs may be distributed in various locations outside of the office. We also know that many IT organizations, and many of you are probably living this, is that they're forced to do more with less. And this means that providing those services that we were talking about, the end-to-end device lifecycle management and support to employees, needs to be done in a much more cost-efficient way. This includes having the IT organization provide the services around the seamless security deployment, as well as imaging and deploying and maintaining and supporting those devices for those employees, but also recognizing that there are often limited or shrinking number of IT personnel to support not just the PCs, but other connected devices across the organization. So that gives you some context as to what's happening from the IT perspective. But what about from the employees who are using these devices? We also found from our survey of IT stakeholders that they do recognize that folks are using their devices and these PCs to access AI technologies. And 3 of the top 5 initiatives that IT organizations are facing are focused on enabling AI technologies for applications and services across their organization and for the employees that work there. And in fact, our survey data also highlights the fact that 35% of employees are using AI and generative AI applications. So if we go to the next slide, I think we really just highlight the fact that we're seeing momentum in this area with respect to adopting ChatGPT, which many folks have heard about, Microsoft Copilot is another example, Google Gemini. All of these are generative AI applications and usage activities that employees are using at least weekly for work. And some of the applications and activities that these AI capabilities are supporting include researching and consolidating, analyzing information, as well as generating new types of content or creating first versions of software code. Now, in comparison, I mentioned the 35% of employees using those devices for applications such as AI and generative AI solutions. In comparison, between 70 and 80% of those employees are using more legacy type work applications like email or word processing or even spreadsheets at least weekly for work. So that just gives you an idea of where the range is for adoption so far. So if we go and think about the idea of these solutions, the other thing to think about is what's going on with respect to 5G. Now, I have been talking about what's happening from the IT perspective, but where does 5G sort of intersect with the needs of the employees who are using these applications and services on their PCs? Well, certainly folks like Verizon and the telcos have been widely deploying broadband 5G cellular networks across many different geographic regions. And these PCs and other types of devices with 5G modems in them are providing seamless and secure connectivity to the network. And they also enable new types of applications and services, particularly those that need very high bandwidth and low latency capabilities. So when we think about some of the benefits of 5G enabled AI capabilities and the needs that employees have as they're accessing these AI-enabled applications and generative AI tools, what we're finding is today, many of the generative AI applications are using powerful machine learning and AI algorithms in the cloud to process very large language models with billions of parameters of data. And the 5G connectivity that's built into the AI PCs provides fast and seamless and secure connectivity between those AI tools that are on the device and the intelligent insight that's coming from those large language models and that are processed in the cloud. Some of those AI-enabled functions on the device could include real-time language translation, different types of collaboration capabilities, and the security functions that were also highlighted and are very important to ensure that the devices and the insight that are on these devices stay secure. We also know that the 5G-enabled PCs and the cellular plans can also provide employees with seamless access to the growing array of AI-enabled applications that we are seeing in the market. So hopefully this has given you some context of what we're seeing at Forrester through our surveys, and given you an idea of what some of the insight related to the benefits and the value of these AI PCs with 5G modems can bring to the table.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Really appreciate your insight. Up next, we've got Rick to talk a little bit more about the Forrester TEI. So, Rick, floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. So total economic impact for all of those on the line here is Forrester's proprietary cost benefit analysis, essentially, where we interview customers who are using some of the products and services, such as the title of this report, the total economic impact of Dell AI PCs with 5G and Dell APEX PC-as-a-Service. And so we interview these customers to understand the level of impact that these devices and services have had on their organization. So as you can see on the slide here, the total economic impact methodology, it's Forrester's version of an ROI case study, essentially looks at 4 key areas. Benefits, so where customers have been advantaged from adopting AI PCs with 5G and through Dell PC-as-a-Service. Costs, obviously it's going to cost something to buy the devices, lease the devices, procure the devices, and then ultimately pay for services and indirect costs as well, right? What it takes from their internal personnel to manage the devices, etc. Then flexibility factors. So where might an organization be advantaged in the future as a result of adopting technology such as AI PCs with 5G today, right? A year down the road, what business opportunities might be available to them, right? So Forrester Total Economic Impact looks into some of those factors as well. And of course, we look at all of these factors through the lens of risk. So what are the elements of variance between organizations that are going to allow one organization to maybe achieve more benefit than the next? What are some of the factors of cost that are going to make one organization incur more cost during the technology adoption than another? So we adjust all of our benefits and costs that we quantify in these reports to account for those factors of variance. You don't see it on the screen, but I'm going to give you a quick flyover of how we actually conduct this research, because I'm going to give you some numbers and benefit categories that the interviewees that we spoke to were able to quantify for their organization. So I want to make sure there's some context behind that. Ultimately, the first step, Forrester does a due diligence stage where we ultimately are looking to get to formulating a questionnaire with Dell and Verizon to make sure that we're going off and conquering on our interviews and getting all the right information so customers can talk about some of the benefits they've achieved. As you might have picked up based on the way I've been speaking about it, ultimately the way that we get to these benefit categories and we get to these numbers and we get to this impact is we talk to customers in this research who have adopted AI PCs with 5G through Dell PC-as-a-Service. And they're really kind of giving us a little bit of the before and after story, what these devices have allowed them to do as an organization, how PC-as-a-Service was a helpful service for them to actually procure those devices, right? So we really kind of get the whole customer story from the beginning to what the impact is. And then ultimately what total economic impact aims to do, and I'm sure there'll be a link sent after this to you so you can check out this research for yourself. But what it ultimately aims to do is help organizations and help potential customers understand what types of benefits that they may go off and achieve, and what the potential impact is based on the successes of their peers. So Jack, if you go to the next slide, there's the kind of headline of the report, right? The cover page, if you will, and getting into some of the key stats and figures from the report. We were able to quantify several key areas that customers who have brought 5G PCs with AI PCs with 5G into their organizations have been able to note, and through PC-as-a-Service, of course, right? So PC-as-a-Service specifically allows the organizations to offset a lot of the costs associated with the device life cycle, right? So procurement, imaging, back and forth, shipping, repairs, right? So there's a good quantified impact of avoided life cycle costs that are now going through Dell PC-as-a-Service, and some shipping costs as well. There are also productivity benefits for users, right? Not just for users who are doing AI modeling and computation on their device now, right? So there's some productivity benefit for them there, but there's also through PC-as-a-Service, you're seeing less time on average across an organization where users are without device. So we quantify that as well. And then ultimately this time, and I say this time because we've done this total economic impact study with Dell for a few revisions now. We really wanted to understand the impact that bringing AI PCs with 5G into an organization can allow. Organizations noted that PC-as-a-Service allows them to bring these devices in, so they don't have to take the entire upfront cost. And some organizations that we spoke to said in the past they were actually not buying as many devices as they needed, or buying the devices and, for lack of a better term, running them into the ground, and not necessarily refreshing them when they should be, as a result of needing to make some compromises when it comes to procurement. So PC-as-a-Service is allowing organizations who need these AI PCs with 5G to bring them in for their organization. So specifically to those AI PCs with 5G, we were able to talk to customers who were able to quantify the impact of these devices on their organization, and they were able to mention that AI PCs through connectivity were able to help them deliver better yields for their farm. I'm teasing our star interviewee in just a second, and ultimately make their farm more profitable. They also mentioned that their growers could use on-device capabilities with the AI PCs to update models, so they could actually not just gain benefit for their farm through better connectivity, not going back and forth from greenhouses, right? And really update their models so they're able to further increase yields. So with that, Jack, I am going to let the suspense dissipate and bring up our star interviewee from this TEI report, who we have with us today.
Fantastic. Thank you. I mean, Keith, hopefully there weren't too many more spoilers, but let's have you hear a little bit, or let's have you talk a little bit more about how you're using 5G and AI PC connected devices.
Yeah. Thanks again. And Richard, as always, yeah. Always give me such a great introduction. I don't know how I can go better than that. But yeah, let me just introduce what we are. So Nature Fresh Farms, we are a greenhouse growing bell peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, strawberries, vegetables of that nature. But it's all enclosed. We're 250 acres total of greenhouse. So think of 232 acres being all enclosed, totally controlled. And one of the things I like to say is I like to think of our plants as a patient in a hospital. We control every bit of their life, from how much sun they get, to how much artificial light they get, to how much water they get. We control every aspect of that life. And that's where we started to lean into the Dell and the Verizon 5G connected laptops, and then even going into the AI ones, more because you can envision, as an IT person, how do you get Wi-Fi connectivity over 250 acres of space? How do you even do it when there's plant density and stuff like that? And we struggled with it for many, many years. And it really wasn't until we really started to adopt the 5G approach that we were able to actually get connectivity out in the greenhouse, which started to allow our growers to not have to return to a central office to do something, to change the environment, to look at things the way they are. And that's just kind of where we started off on our journey on that thing. One of the things that we did, and I know Richard talked about, was PC-as-a-Service. When we started out in Delta, Ohio, which is one of the main locations that uses this, is we didn't have the upfront ability to buy 50 laptops. So we started down the PC services, and then we're like, wow, this is a very cost-effective way to improve it. We got a great return. We got a good concept going here now. Then we started going to the 5G. Then we started to go, well, this 5G is working great, but we really need to add AI to this mixture of things. And so what we started to see was we started to allow the growers to now make real-time decisions and have the right AI engines out there to adjust the crop, to do things of how they need to do and become much more proactive. You know, we continued to get better crop yields each year. So we started to see like almost up to a 0.5% improvement because of that efficiency, because we're able to react in the field instead of having to go back. We've learned that over the years, and it is a hard thing to see, the plants need to be fed when they need to do, and you can't just, I like to compare them again, going back to hospital. They like to be fed at an exact time, and AI allows us to figure out that exact time. They like their breakfast, lunch, and their dinner. They like to be fed when there's sun. There's like to be fed when all this is happening. And the AI allowed us to become proactive out there. When we first started doing things, and I go back to the history of things, it was all pen and paper. The next person, you know, when we started pen and paper, they'd write it down, information would be lost. It'd be days before we got any data out of it. You know, then we started to use hotspots. I know Jackie talked about using your hotspot, so it does work, but it still wasn't efficient. It just was always one more step. And whenever you have that extra step to do something, people just avoid it. You know, and that's when we really started to get into the 5G laptops and how that allowed us to seamlessly make it to do it. And then one other thing I did note, and you know, it's funny, we've gone over these slides so many times, and it is something different that I did think of, is not only did you see the ability to use AI laptops to help do things, but something that we mentioned earlier is the battery life. And it's something we never really talked about a lot, but the battery life really changed for the growers because now they were able to have the laptop out in the greenhouse all day. Previous non-AI ones that didn't have the NPU didn't seem to last more than 4 or 5 hours, so meaning they have to return to it. But you know, it has been a change in how we do things, and it's been an amazing story for us to tell on how we continue to grow and how we continue to do more and more with the information that we have and how to react to it. And Jack, I'm not sure where, do we have another slide here now? Yeah, I can't remember.
I believe we do.
Going? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So going back to where we're talking about using a laptop, this is what the environment looks like to us. And this is just how things are enabled. And I want you to think of this, that you have plants lined up, and this is one row in a small greenhouse. This would be a small, probably 16 to 32 acre greenhouse. This is one row of approximately 400 rows. And I always like to try to give people a visualization trying to work out in this environment. It's hot, it's humid, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no nothing there. And this allows us to watch those crop yield increases. We're able to react. I know we're doing all kinds of new things, even with robots out there connected through 5G AI PCs that are controlling the things to help us learn more. So it never really stops what we're doing. And I think the big catalyst to the whole story is that with the 5G connectivity, we were able to do work remotely. With the AI inside the PCs, we were finally able to do work not only in the computer, but in the cloud and figure out where we wanted to do that work. It really changed our world. And it was something that we struggle with internally, that I struggle with internally, of how do you make the Wi-Fi work out there? There isn't an answer to it. The answer is 5G. And that's what really made our life different. And now, Jack, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Keith. I mean, that segues really great into the question that I want to ask all of the speakers. So, I mean, you kind of spoke about how 5G PCs have personally changed your work and your approach, but I'm curious to hear from everybody else. So, Tomas, we're going to start with you. What's one way 5G PCs have personally changed how you work or approach your day-to-day tasks?
I think it's a good example is when I'm traveling, so I'm no longer using any public Wi-Fi network. So it's really simplified my way of connecting as well. I can be always on connected to the 5G network, whether I'm going through airports, hotel lobbies, conference centers, and so forth. So super simple use case, and I know that I'm always connected to a secure Verizon 5G network when I'm on the go. So really that kind of like a security plus then the ease of use is a big factor for sure. Plus, no need to kind of like worry about hotspots. No worry, I don't need to worry about my my mobile having the juice in it to hotspot to my PC and so forth. So all in all, just simple, secure way of connecting.
Wonderful, thank you. Ryan, let's have you go next. What's one way that 5G PCs have personally changed the way you work or approach your day-to-day tasks?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been, I'm not on the go maybe as much as some other roles, but just having that seamless backup connectivity for when I do need it has been a game changer, right? Like I work a lot in the office now, but there are times I'm at home. There's times when the home Wi-Fi is not working great and the hotspot is, getting drained, and just being able to have the reliability of, hey, I've got an easy, seamless way to stay connected. It doesn't matter if the home Wi-Fi is having issues. It doesn't matter if I'm on the go. It just helped me be a lot more productive and not have any kind of glitches if there's any issues with the Wi-Fi that I'm using.
Wonderful, thank you. Michelle, we'll have you go up next.
Yeah, I think certainly the seamless connectivity, being on the go and away from the office quite often in many different locations, and that's always been a bit of a stress in terms of travel. So having that easy, seamless ability to get access to whatever it is I need while I'm away is absolutely important. And then I guess AI is starting to make its way into the research community. And so having access to those applications that are starting to become available to understand what's out there on a particular topic I may be researching, or understanding, types of content that's already been developed, and sort of where the gaps might be. Certainly that is starting to make its way into the application side of using AI intelligence, insight, and content on a more day-to-day basis in my job. So I think we're seeing a bit of that combination as well. And I wrapped around all that, security is absolutely critical. Certainly that's very important to us at Forrester, and anybody who's on the road has to always be very careful about that. So that additional assurance that security is part of the picture becomes very important as well.
Absolutely, totally makes sense.
And Jack, can I add one more too? The one thing as an IT person, and not even just talking about HFresh, and we talked about that connectivity factor of on the go, coming from the IT help desk side, you have no idea how much stress that takes off me and the executive team, knowing not having to support them when they're out in the field and they decide they have to do work at Tim Hortons or they have to go do something. It's made that life for my team so much better because they know they literally just turn on the laptop and start to work. There is no step to connect to public Wi-Fi to worry about security. Like on my side, on the IT side of things, that was one of the greatest things I found with the 5G outside of the greenhouse, was that security and ease of connectivity made everybody's life so much better. It made the executives' lives better, and when they're happy, the IT team is happy.
Absolutely. What about you, Rick? You got anything?
Oh, so I'm batting cleanup, right? So everyone's already talked about the stuff I was going to talk about. So I'm going to modify the question, and I'm going to go back into the TEI report. And one thing I want to kind of stress here, I know that we've covered the example with Keith, but hearing from several organizations, right? The idea that you can keep field workers, not necessarily growers, right, but field workers connected in various disciplines, various industries, is really powerful information that came from the study, right? I mean, it's ultimately, in an ever-connected world, the value of information increasing. It's always important to stay locked into the home base, right? So across organizations, it's pretty inherent how there's value there, especially when you've got field workers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, we will give some time for your Q&A. So if you have your questions, please put them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer all of them. But while you possibly typing out your questions, I just wanted to thank all the speakers for joining us here today. I mean, this was an awesome, a super insightful session. So thank you for that. Where, we explored how the integration of 5G technology within Dell AI PCs is redefining what's possible with hybrid work, AI-driven ops, and beyond. With a reliable cellular connectivity, these devices provide unmatched flexibility and real-time access to critical cloud-based applications. It's clear that the connectivity is no longer just a convenience, but a necessity. We're super proud of the strong partnership within Dell and Verizon, ensuring that you can trust in secure and reliable 5G networks. Thank you, really, everyone, for your time. I mean, I learned a lot of really valuable information. I was telling everybody in our practice beforehand, I'm on a hotspot and it's stressing me out because I'm at a different conference right now. So I really wish that I had a 5G connected laptop right now. It would have been so much easier to get all of this done. So definitely learned a lot, and I feel bad for the head of IT at my company because they will be hearing from me about how I need a new laptop that is an AI PC and 5G connected. But with that, I'm going to take a quick look and just see if there are any questions that came in. Taylor, are you seeing anything in the Q&A?
We do have one, and I did message it to you directly. I believe Ryan, potentially Michelle, might be able to answer it as well.
Fantastic.
I was just typing a message, but I could do it live as well. The question was around 5G, including encryption, advanced authentications, and the answer is absolutely yes. There is end-to-end encryption on the 5G network. We actually published a article with Verizon pretty recently where we looked at the security benefits of 5G. And so I'm going to link to that as well, so you can get some of the information around those enhanced security features of the 5G connection.
Awesome, wonderful. I'm taking a look to see if there's any more questions coming in via the chat or the Q&A, but I mean, we timed this pretty perfectly. This is exactly what we had planned out for, so this is fantastic. So everybody might be able to get a little time back in their day. I just wanted one more call out. If there's anybody else on this call, any of our panelists that have anything else to add, this is your shot before we close it out. So if you've got one more note that you want to make, now's your shot. All
I'm
right.
good. I'm good.
Yeah, silence means we're good. So with that, we'll give everybody about 15 minutes back in their day. There will be a survey that's coming out right when you close this. You should be able to see that survey, and we will email it to you as well. So if you miss it when you close it, don't worry. We will email that out. Your feedback is invaluable to us. It helps us drive these sessions forward, create new content for you guys. So we really appreciate you being here, and the recording will be up on elevate.com in just a couple of days. So enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. This was a great way to start a Friday.